Hey A&Pers, this is Dr. Jones checking in. This is A&P II Lab 4 Video 2, and we're still in the kidneys. And this is a close-up of one renal corpuscle. On the previous model, we said each pearl was a renal corpuscle, and we had a couple that were zoomed in. Is it going to focus? Okay. Not really. All right. So the outer shell here we said was the Bowmans capsule or glomerular capsule, and the knot of capillaries inside is the glomerulus. So this little thing right here is one of these. So we've got the Bowmans capsule, which technically is a double layered thing. So let me draw you a bit of a picture, and I am not an artist. On the plus side, if I can draw it, all y'all can draw it. So this two-layered membrane here is the Bowmans capsule. And the upgraded term for this is the glomerular capsule. Because it's the capsule around the glomerulus. So there are two layers here, and this is analogous to our fist in a balloon picture. So this will be the fist and this will be the balloon. So the outer layer of the balloon here is the capsular epithelium. And the updated term for this is parietal epithelium. The inner layer is going to be touching the glomerulus. This is the glomerular epithelium. I'll show you these on the models here in a second. And the updated term for glomerular epithelium is visceral. Epithelium. So the capsular or parietal epithelium along with the glomerular or visceral epithelium together make the Bowmans capsule slash glomerular capsule. So they have, all of them have two names, every speck of, so. And then the space between them is the capsular space. And that will be filled with a fluid called filtrate. So where is that on our model? Okay, so this layer here is going to be the capsular epithelium, the parietal epithelium. And this layer of tan yellow cells with blue nuclei, see the blue nuclei? Those are just the nuclei, that's not the cell. All this yellow wrapping around this blood vessel is the cell. So these are a bunch of cells that completely wrap around the glomerulus. And these are the glomerular epithelium or the visceral epithelium. So this layer plus this layer makes the Bowmans capsule, or also called the glomerular capsule, which is easier to ask over here where there's just the one layer showing, and you can just point here and that's the Bowmans capsule. So it also shows up better on the slide. So this knot of capillaries inside the renal corpuscle, this whole thing's a renal corpuscle, is the glomerulus. And the lining of the glomerulus, which is the layer of cells that makes up the wall of the glomerulus, is the capillary endothelium, the capillary endothelium. And the capillary endothelium is covered by this layer, which is called the visceral or glomerular epithelium. Now this epithelium is made up of cells. And these cells, so here's the nuclei, the blue nuclei of these yellow tan cells. And these cells are called podocytes. Podocyte, pod like foot. And then in between the two cells, separating two cells, is this little red zigzag. So y'all see the little red zigzags there? Those are called filtration slits. And the filtration slits allow fluids to leak out of the capillaries, out of the glomerulus, into the capsular space. And it filters it by size. So whatever filters through becomes filtrate because it just got filtered. So separating two cells, the red zigzag is a filtration slit. And this cell, these cells are podocytes, and the layers of cells are, all this layer of these cells is the glomerular epithelium, also called the visceral epithelium. So the other thing is these little feet, these little toes, the little yellow bits, those are called pedicels. So I always think of it as zipper teeth. So if this hand is a podocyte and this hand is a podocyte, the pedicels are the zipper teeth that zip together. Except there's a space in between them called the filtration slit, and then be like, if you've got a big bucket of water and you're trying to catch all your marbles but let the water through, then you'd make maybe this, and this is kind of what your cells have done here. So this cell is a podocyte, and that little yellow finger or toe sticking out there in between the red zigzags, that's a pedicel. And then this layer of cells is the glomerular or visceral epithelium. And what's that red zigzag between two podocytes? That's the filtration slit. So the next thing we need is the macula densa. So this tube here is the distal convoluted tubule. Here is the proximal convoluted tubule. So these cells of the distal convoluted tubule towards the glomerulus are the macula densa. And then these cells on the, oh, we haven't talked about the afferent efferent arteriole yet. So this is the afferent arteriole bringing blood into the glomerulus. This is the efferent arteriole taking blood out of the glomerulus. And the afferent arteriole has these cells here. These are called juxtaglomerular cells. So they're juxtaglomerular, they're just next to the glomerulus. Now we just had another juxta term because we had juxtamedullary nephrons because those are just next to the medulla. These cells are juxtaglomerular cells because they're just next to the glomerulus. The macula densa and the juxtaglomerular cells together make up the juxtaglomerular complex. So let's finish our drawing real quick. So we've got blood vessel coming in. Okay, not a great artist, it's all right. So this is our afferent arteriole bringing blood in to the glomerulus. And this is our efferent arteriole carrying blood out of the glomerulus. And these lines match up. It's like a really well-fitted glove over the glomerulus. So the efferent arteriole has a smaller diameter than the afferent arteriole, and that jacks up the pressure in the glomerulus. And that's why so much of the liquid filters out into the capsular space. And then it will go into the proximal convoluted tubule. And then the distal convoluted tubule is always between the afferent arteriole and the efferent arteriole. So these cells on this side of the distal convoluted tubule are the macula densa. And then these cells on the afferent arteriole and then the two together. Oh, now it's right on the screen. There we go. Are the juxtaglomerular complex. So the juxtaglomerular complex has two parts. It has the macula densa, which are cells of the distal convoluted tubule, and it has the juxtaglomerular cells, which are on the afferent arteriole. Okay, and we will come back with our next video to talk about the blood supply to the kidneys, and we will talk about the afferent arteriole again. So this is Dr. Jones, A&P II Lab 4 Video 2, The Education Must Go On. Dr. J out.